Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, August 22nd. On the impact map for today, quite a bit going on. Here in the pink, we have some isolated dry lightning expected across parts of the central mountains of Idaho. Otherwise, gusty winds, albeit with somewhat higher humidity across the Snake River Plain this afternoon, but much drier humidity with gusts of 30 miles per hour or greater across some of our southern areas today. No significant impacts for tomorrow, but it will be seasonably warm and dry still. Another round of wind across northern Nevada and across much of southern Utah on Saturday. This one will be accompanied by overall humidity at or below 15% with critical levels. Looking at precipitation the past 24 hours, just some slight amounts here in the green, a couple of hundredths of an inch. And lightning-wise, just missed out so far. Had some lightning just on northwest of our boundary, and did have a little bit in western Wyoming. We'll have to see what the heating of the day will bring. Luckily, there'll be some cloud cover and some shading today, but we will see some additional lightning, or expecting some of it here in the central mountains. So far for new starts, reds indicate new fire starts in the last 24 hours. Yellows indicate recent fires in the past couple of days. So continue with light to possibly locally moderate initial attacks. Some of these fires are on the large size, several hundred to even a couple of thousand acres here in parts of northern Utah. It has been bone dry last 7 days, no precipitation whatsoever across the Great Basin, and even over the past 2 weeks. We can probably exclude this first shade of blue. It's just radar estimates of a few hundredths of an inch, but it's basically just in these greenish areas where we had some quarter-inch to locally half-inch amounts of precipitation. Our ERCs continue to rise. Areas in the red, 80th to 90th percentile, darker reds up to the 96th percentile, covering much of the area, and this will continue to dry out over the next couple of days. 10-hour fuels, again, bone dry, especially here in the red, 3 to 4%. That affects the grasses, 1 to 2%, as dry as it gets here in this darker red shade. They've modified just a little bit up in central Idaho. That's due to the recent cloud cover, but they'll bounce back quickly as well. Look at some of our fields across the area where we are expecting some lightning up here in the mountains of central Idaho. You can see the ERCs have, after dropping way down with rain about 2 weeks ago, they are back up to normal late August levels, dry enough to burn. And here in western Wyoming, they have snuck up above normal. They're halfway between normal levels and record high levels. So that's another concern up in our north, and where we had some recent new fire activity here across the southern Sierra front. We see that ERCs also have jumped up to normal levels, which are basically max levels for the year normally. As well. Now we'll continue looking at Utah. We had some fire activity here in northwest Utah. You can see ERCs well above normal and not too far away from record levels. The Uinta Basin, similar story, just below or right near record levels, and near or beyond record levels here in the Arizona Strip and southern Utah, as the monsoon has been very minimal over this past couple of weeks. Looking at the weather map, a pretty strong trough of low pressure through here, pushing through Oregon and Idaho at the present time. The enhanced clouds indicate showers are isolated and maybe some isolated lightning developing today. So we could see some flare-ups here in parts of the central mountains, especially the eastern parts, as well as going perhaps into western Wyoming. We'll see. Otherwise, these are just higher clouds here in the southeast, should not produce lightning, but the tight height lines through here should produce some gusty winds. We apologize, our 7-day map feature is not working this morning, but our tabular forecast feature is. So looking at our 7-day fire potential for today, Thursday, August 22nd, we do have high risk for lightning across parts of the mountains of central Idaho. Scrolling further down, we do have high risk for wind across parts of the Uinta, Wasatch Cache, and to much of Utah, and even down into the Arizona Strip. If we look to Friday, nothing much going on, but Saturday and Sunday, another risk of critical winds and low humidity for the Snake River Plain areas in Idaho, parts of northeastern Nevada, And also, if we scroll down here into parts of northern Utah as well. Otherwise, notice the trend that we go from yellow to brown in all areas because warming and drying will continue throughout the entire region. So as critically dry as fuels are now, they will be even more critically dry and near record levels possibly as we go into the middle part of next week. So here's our outlook for later today here on the left-hand side. Here's the upper level map. Moisture by this time would have moved out of parts of the central Idaho and into Montana. We have drier air punching in, but still unstable conditions here. And with these tight height lines, we're getting some stronger winds across parts of the area. Now we're missing our 7-day, but we'll look at our impact maps for today. There is a potential for lightning up here in the mountains of central Idaho, and there are those gusty winds, although slightly higher humidity here in the Snake River Plain, but dry humidity levels and gusty winds of 30 miles per hour in the afternoon further on southwards. And on the map here on the left, you can see those peak winds kicking up through here through the Snake River Plain, as well as from Vegas through the southern half of Utah. We have that high risk. On the right-hand side, notice the precipitation expected across parts of the mountain central Idaho. Now our border kind of ends right here, but you can see some afternoon precipitation. This will be thunderstorms. Local, a mix of wet and dry, but more dry than wet. These will be fast-moving. Fuels are critically dry. They'll get wetter as they get up into Montana, so there is the concern through here. Fortunately, these thunderstorms should wash out and move northeastwards before they have a significant impact on parts of western Wyoming. So it'll be a close call. We'll be watching that. Now for Friday, not much going on. Dry air pushes in, seasonable conditions, moisture to our north and well to our south, and the deep monsoon still nowhere near us. No significant impacts on Friday. Friday, the winds much lighter across the area, and these dark greens to orange indicate gusts anywhere from 15 to 25 miles per hour. But notice the humidity gets drier in all areas, so the fuels will continue to dry. Mid to teens, upper teens to low 20% range through here. There'll be some cloud cover. Upper single digits to lower teens further south. Now on Saturday, the wind belt tightens a little bit. These height lines come through here. Some tropical activity to the south, but again, no significant monsoon impacting the lower 48. But we'll be watching some of these winds starting to pick up out of the west-northwest. And so for the northern tier of Nevada into the Snake River Plain, gusts approaching 30 miles per hour is our concern through here. And notice there are the winds through here across northern Nevada and into parts of southern Idaho. So, and even to parts of the Uinta, Wasatch, Cache, we see gusts of 30. Humidity levels a tad drier here in northern areas, mid-teens. 15% is about the critical value that we kind of look at, especially for grass and light brush. So we should have that even drier amounts here across our southeastern areas. 3-day precipitation totals basically none to speak of. And further down the road on Sunday, dry air by these Tannis shades pushes on through in west-northwest flow, so continued gusty winds across parts of the area with fairly low humidity. Our fuels will continue to dry. That trend will continue Monday into Tuesday. High pressure builds in. We actually get hotter and drier Tuesday and Wednesday. Notice less of the tannish shade, more of the black. This Four Corners high building in is going to try to push some meager moisture back northwards. It doesn't do so yet. The deeper monsoonal moisture is here. There is the threat of the possibility of some isolated thunderstorms returning to our southern areas, especially Utah and the Arizona Strip, possibly by the end of next week, but still a long ways away. If that happens, fuels will be critically dry during that time period. No significant precipitation in the whole 7-day period for the most part. 8 to 14-day outlook shows above normal temperatures, especially the western half of the Great Basin. There could be a return of some monsoonal moisture. Notice we'll be on the fringe of it. So in this lighter green shade through here, suspect that there will be enough lightning and critically dry fuels to cause new ignitions if this pattern is true. So as we go into the Labor Day period, we could see the potential for new starts and new fire activity. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.